film about? What's it really about? What genre does it hit? What is really being said? What's really being seen? That's what you're talking about.
Hello and welcome once again to the Intermission podcast. We are getting on a roll here. This is the fastest turnaround that we have had between episodes. We released an episode last week and we are back this week once again. I am Nitin Sundar and as always, I am joined today by my friend Narendra Dodi. Who are you, Dodi, today?
Actually, Macha, I don't really remember who I am. मैं कौन हूँ? मैं पुण्य हूँ या पाप हूँ?
Oh,
मैं आप हूँ. विक्रम राठौड़. नाम तो सुना होगा.
Okay, now we need to make this a video podcast going forward. He also has a shivling behind him. Macha, too much impact. Okay, so usually we do this on Zoom and Narendra Dodi always has his camera on, as do I, so that we can see each other and have a proper conversation. He was claiming that he's having camera issues today. So we started off this recording without his camera being on, but now he just turned it on finally. And he has the bandage and the bald head and everything together. I don't know how to describe it. Where is the beard? But you should have got a beard also. What is
This much only can grow in 4 days, man. The movie just came out last week.
You know, very fittingly, I thought I'm going to be talking to Dodi, but it looks like before talking to Dodi, I'm talking to the daddy, which is a reference to the line from the movie as well.
Have you seen the new trailer that is out? There's a new set of dialogues. मैं this हूँ, मैं that हूँ, and whatever.
Oh.
And in the end, it is मैं तुम्हारा बाप हूँ. मैं कौन हूँ, मैं तुम्हारा बाप हूँ. Which is not in the movie. They've recorded this new set.
Why are they releasing trailers after the movie? Anyway.
Reviews. All right, let's introduce our special guests.
Yes, we have been getting a lot of feedback from our ardent listeners that our podcast is beginning to sound like two uncles yammering away pointlessly. And we decided to take some corrective measures on this podcast. So we've introduced an auntie as well into the podcast to start with. Introducing our first guest, Divya Rolla, amazing dancer, yoga instructor, and also all-round Shah Rukh Khan fan who has been fawning over Jawaan. And if you have not already guessed, we are going to be reviewing Jawaan today. And Divya has decided to join the podcast to let all of you know what she thinks about Jawaan. How are you doing, Dee?
Doing very well, and Auntie Divya is thrilled to be here.
Thanks for joining us, Dee.
Welcome.
Like I said, we have taken two corrective measures today. Not only have we brought in the auntie, we have also brought in the niece. We have brought in the first Gen Z participant on the Intermission podcast. Joining us all the way from the Ashoka University campus is Arya Bharath, who is also joining the podcast today. Another huge fan of Jawaan. How are you doing, Arya? Welcome to podcasting.
Hello. Super excited to be here. Major fan of the podcast. And yes, coming to you from Ashoka University in Sonipat, Haryana. Very excited to be here.
Welcome, Arya.
Amazing. So before we dive into the world of Jawaan, just a quick follow-up from our previous episode where we reviewed Barbie along with 3 other films. And we wanted to get Gen Z's opinion on Barbie. So Arya, please let us know. Let our listeners know, how did Barbie impact you, if at all?
So I went to watch Barbie like on the same day as Oppenheimer, and like being a huge fan of Greta Gerwig, like I have watched Lady Bird like I think like 4 or 5 times or something. But anyways, I was very excited for the movie, but sadly didn't really meet the mark for me. I feel like there was a lot of potential, but then and the movie seemed to be going somewhere in the first half, but got derailed in the second half, at least according to me. The way they tried to portray feminism was in some ways too idealistic. And again, it all like ties back down into, and I felt like Mattel also was trying to send that message of them being like, oh yeah, we're not the company that tried to, that's put like so many insecurities in young girls. We're trying to like take care of our image right now. Some like image control was also happening. I feel like there were a lot of aspects that made the second half very like mellow in my opinion. And I wasn't a huge fan of the ending, to be honest. I felt like it sort of took away from the message of Barbie. The fact that she became a human took away from that message. It was like, okay, fine, then what's the point of Barbie in the end if the end goal was for her to become a human? I feel like it would have been better if it led to, let's say, Barbies having more autonomy or something, or like if there was some sort of, I mean, this again might be too idealistic, but like if there was some sort of mixing of the real world and Barbie world. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the ending either. So yes.
Thank you for sharing that. I think
Dodi, come on, you have to respond. What is this?
yeah.
Thank you.
No. I wanted only 2-3 bits of let's see what the youth have to say. So that's fine. I don't want to turn this also into a Barbie podcast. You've heard my views. So it's fine. But it's good to hear what's happening with the youth. Lest anyone say that we are not a youth-oriented podcast and we're only just two tatas yammering away.
Looks like we are the Mattel top management basically. So this podcast is our corrective measure. Dodi, one question before we proceed: are you going to continue to don the Pathaan suit?
Yeah, I was going to take it off, but it was for effect.
Okay.
The bald head remains. That was Dodi even before Pathaan and Jawaan.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Great to get started on this train. Let's jump right into our spoiler-filled review of Jawaan, starting now.
मैं कौन हूँ? कौन नहीं? पता नहीं। मैं अच्छा हूँ, बुरा हूँ, पुण्य हूँ या पाप हूँ, ये खुद से पूछना, क्योंकि मैं भी आप हूँ। रेडी? नाम तो सुना होगा।
Running with King Khan, bullets rain down like it's thunder. Ready or not, she got the Glock, she'll put you under. You know it game time on the front line till it's over. Deep in the trenches for ya, like a soldier.
बेकरार करके हमें यूं न जाइए, आपको हमारी कसम लौट आई।
I think let's first just start with how we watched the movie. Divya, do you want to talk about your viewing experience?
I think I had a couple of biases as I watched the movie. There is something called the Dodi effect. And every movie, so I went to watch the movie with Dodi in Bangalore, and we went for the 7:30 morning show. And I think doing the morning show was a good call. So we were the second show, right? I think the first show was at 6:30 in the morning. We were the second show on the opening day, and the shows were packed. I had Dodi next to me, and that's it. I'm already set up for success, and there was no way I would have walked out. It was a Shah Rukh Khan movie, which I anyway went knowing that I will love. So I think all in all, it was a recipe for success and a very entertaining morning spent.
Amaze.
I love the movie. So everything that you're going
what a
to
surprise.
hear, I absolutely love the movie.
Excellent.
So I will defend it to death in this.
It's okay. It's not Barbie. Nobody's going to attack it. Don't worry. Dodi, your thoughts on Jawaan?
Yeah, so like Divya said, I'm in India for a few weeks, so I thought, what better way to experience Jawaan than to go for a first day, first show. And then I said, I'm not going alone. Let me take the right person with me, somebody who will appreciate Jawaan, assuming it was worth appreciating. At that point, we had no idea, but whatever, let's go with the flow. And I think my main pitch to Divya also was, look, we'll go in the morning. Even if the movie is bad, at least we would have, Janta will be enjoying, people will be cheering, at least we'll be with the crowd that would enjoy it. So there's some paisa vasool that's happening here. But to be honest, movie was very entertaining. It's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun. And I had a certain sense of what the movie might be, and we can talk about that a little more. I plotted it out to be this movie called Aakhri Rasta. I assume there's a South version of this as well. It is effectively that, but with some twists and turns and whatever around it. But lots of fun. And Shah Rukh, I think I'm really enjoying both between Pathaan and this. Audiences finally responding to Shah Rukh again after a while of not showing love or not liking what he's done or whatever. So it's nice to see that as well. and more when we get into spoilers.
Super. Arya, opening thoughts on Jawaan?
Yeah, so I went to watch the movie again. So G20 was happening this weekend. So
Oh,
Delhi was cut off for us. Usually I'd go to watch a movie in Delhi, but this time we went to this like local theater in Sonipat. Went and watched it with like this huge crowd, and I feel like that added to my viewing experience. It was so much fun just sitting and watching. There were people shouting, screaming. There were a lot of also college students of like a similar age there as well. So it was like a good mix of people. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie a lot. And this is not because I'm a Shah Rukh Khan fan or something. I historically have not been like a huge Shah Rukh girly, but this movie was like a lot of fun. And yeah, I went and watched it with a few of my friends, so it was really good.
amazing. Looks like one of the reasons why you guys have loved this film is partly to do with the company that you went with and the atmosphere in which you watched this movie as well.
Be careful. Don't throw don't throw your partner
And
under the bus.
No, I'm not.
no, I think it was also a very unlike Shah Rukh movie, because the first Shah Rukh movie I saw was, I remember when I was 12 years old in 91 or 92, was Deewana. That, I think, from that 92 all the way up to, I'll say, even 2021, Shah Rukh was a complete all and out romance star.
Yeah.
Almost every movie he did, he was deeply in love with someone, either as a villain or as a hero. And all of his movies revolved around love. And it was in 2022, his cameo in Brahmastra, where suddenly he switched to action.
Yeah.
And then that's it, 2023 opened with Shah Rukh Khan at the age of, this is crazy, that he chose to romance till the age of 55. And suddenly at the age of 56, he's like, I'm now an action star. And he does it so well, so convincingly. I mean, I love Shah Rukh. What can I say?
Nitin, your thoughts.
Between the four of us, we have covered an entire spectrum of how this movie can be watched and enjoyed, right? So you have Divya and Dodi who are in Bangalore. They've gone to a quintessential PVR Korumangala, I'm guessing, to watch the film, which is like, typical upmarket big city experience of watching this film. And they've had a great time, obviously also doing the first day early morning show. We have Arya, who has done the small town Sonipat single screen experience here with college friends, which is quite the other end of the spectrum, and I'd say equally amazing. And she's had an equally amazing time. I don't know where to classify my experience of how I watched this film. So I watched this in Dubai. We did not go for this movie on the weekend because, we have a child at home and this is not a child-friendly film. So we typically try to catch our movies on weekdays when he's gone to school. So we watched this on a Monday morning at, I think, 11:30 a.m. show. Dubai has some massive oversupply of multiplexes. I mentioned this on this podcast in the past. So even in the first week of a very big film, you will get tickets quite easily. Not just tickets, you will get the entire hall. You might end up getting a private screening, which almost happened for us. So we went to an IMAX screening of this film. And this is a massive IMAX. It's bigger than the IMAX that I've seen in Bangalore. There's at a mall called the Ibn Battuta Mall. We could have a separate podcast dedicated to Ibn Battuta Mall. I don't mean one episode of a podcast, but an entire podcast. You could do episode after episode talking about that mall, but I won't go into that. There were just two other people other than myself and Shruti, my wife, in the entire hall. Right? So it was completely empty. It was quite an experience to watch it that way as well. Obviously, we didn't get the whistling and the crowd and that part of the experience. It's not something we appreciate anyway. But it was a great way to watch the film. We had the best seats in the house. Obviously, we could have sat wherever we wanted to. And it was larger than life, really larger than life. A pretty good film for IMAX, must be said. I think as big Indian mass masala films tend to be. This one rendered itself fairly well to IMAX. And yeah, a good experience. I like how Dodi said the story is largely Akri Rasta with some modifications. Forget Akri Rasta. There are about 7,000 films that have very, very similar storylines and themes. And we'll go into that shortly as well.
Yeah.
If anything, this was a mishmash of all of those. I'll call this Akri Pasta.
Yes. So what's the opinion? You spoke about your viewing experience, all of that.
It was good. It was fine. Shah Rukh in fine form, doing everything that he's good at. You have a lot of his signature touches and flourishes, and it's very tough to not like Shah Rukh Khan when he's doing something on screen, right? I don't think I've ever seen a movie of Shah Rukh Khan's, and I'm not watched Chennai Express, so actually no. I definitely didn't like him in Ravan, where he plays the first part of the film, he plays a South Indian scientist who eats noodles with curd or some shit like that. Yes. That is actually the Atlee pasta that I was talking about. But yeah, so he was incorrigible in that. But broadly, Shah Rukh is very good. You're never not happy with him. And this movie looks $1 million. It's some great actors, some great set pieces, lovely high moments. I think very, very typical mass entertainer. And frankly, this is the first Atlee film that I'm watching in a cinema hall, and probably the third Atlee film I'm watching all put together as well. And I must say, I was pleasantly impressed by this film. So overall, yeah, nothing. It was a good experience. It was fun.
I haven't seen any Atlee movie. I know I was around in Chennai when what was the first one? Raja Rani. Was that his first? When that came out, Nayantara and Arya.
Was Raja Rani Atlee's film?
Yeah, that was his first movie.
Yes. That was his debut movie. Yes.
That was his debut. So I remember from there, then he went on to start doing like Vijay movies and big action. Yes. But I haven't seen any of them. I know Divya hasn't. Arya, have you seen any of his movies?
Yes, I've watched quite a few of his movies actually. I watched Raja Rani. I've watched both Bigil and Mersal. Like I've watched all his like Vijay movies, and like there was a lot of calling to all of those movies that happened even in Jawaan. So it was a very like, that's also why I like the movie, because it was a very Atlee film just starring Shah Rukh Khan, and like I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Is there a graph? Are you able to see him getting better, or
not necessarily I feel like my favorite movie of his was Bigil. It was very like all in all, the movie was great. There was like, and Vijay was at his like in that movie at least, and I went and had a great viewing experience. But this movie again, like there's the whole father-son double role playing once again. There's again the entire thing of like a man leading like a squadron of like strong girls, a lot of like.
Oh, Bigil is that he's a coach or something? Is that the one?
Yeah, the football coach.
Yeah, so like there was, in that sense, there were a lot of calling. So I feel like same trope, but I do Jawaan does those things slightly better, because there was also like a little more of like a political theme within that. In Bigil, it was very emotionally driven, I think. So I feel like that just added a little more nuance here. Yeah.
What about you, Nitin?
I've watched Mersal and I've watched Bigil. So those are the only two Atlee films I've watched, unless I've watched something that I don't know of. I've not watched Raja Rani. I've not watched Teri, which I think was his first film with Vijay and was a very successful one, which is how he got onto the Vijay train. And Vijay and Ajit both tend to do this. They get one director who gets their pulse and can keep churning out more of the same. You asked me, do I see a graph with Atlee? I don't think I've seen enough to draw a graph. But the fact that he's moved from Vijay to Shah Rukh Khan already means he's moving in the right direction. Let's just leave it at that.
Fair enough. For me, I really enjoyed his handling of obviously mass and scale and all. Anybody who's relatively successful South filmmaker knows how to do mass. So that's fine. But I thought his handling of some of the emotional things were quite good, like the backstories for the girls. Sure, they are very broad and drawn out and whatever, like the worst possible thing that can happen will happen, sure. But also it worked. You could feel it for each of the girls. I think the girls also were good. All of the stories worked well. And coming to spoilers, for me, the jail sequence and all of that worked really well. The Deepika part of the jail sequence worked amazingly well. I thought all of that emotional stuff, he really got those things right. So at that point, if it hits you, then you're like fully emotionally involved.
Compared to the other two films that I've seen, this is definitely Atlee's best film for me.
Whenever I've seen a filmmaker in love with his subject, whether it's the actor or the actress, somehow the way they are portrayed just, I think, catapults. And Atlee, at least for me, felt like he was in love with Shah Rukh Khan throughout this movie. And for the first time, a male actor was really sexualized in the way he was shot throughout the movie. I don't know if you've noticed, almost every time Shah Rukh Khan is on screen, There's always a close-up of his face, always a close-up of his lips. I don't know, there was a real sexualization of Shah Rukh Khan, which I found so refreshing, because right now it's a man at the helm of it and not a woman, which for me was very refreshing, and Shah Rukh Khan just owned it.
That's a very, very interesting observation.
Yeah.
And I wonder though if you're finding it new, because it's actually something that happens quite a bit in the Tamil mass film. Yeah, it's something
tend to have these.
Right.
hero
Much
versions.
lesser in Bollywood. Much
Bollywood,
lesser in
actually,
Bollywood.
yeah, which is.
But I guess there are certain things when you say lips and all. Now I'm thinking, and of course the younger version of him is. To create that contrast, the younger version is also more metrosexual or whatever, much more made up, very cleaned up and whatever.
Very clean cut, yes.
Yeah, and even that song, he has that red shirt with his fully open across his chest and everything.
No, he was the item number in everything.
Yeah,
so.
he was the item in that song. That's true. That's true. For me, I want to talk a little bit about Deepika. So she came in as this so-called special appearance, right? It was called a special appearance. Fine. From the trailer, second trailer, I kind of figured out, okay, she's the mom or whatever, father, son, she's the mom. There was some scene. She was doing her usual stuff. She got 2 songs. Great. Now that's already catapulted her to like pretty much lead status. Like even Nayantara has 2 songs only. And then she's like partly in a 3rd song. So Deepika in the special appearance has already taken over the movie. But once she goes to jail, I thought that jail sequence was really well done. Not just the song. In fact, I don't even remember what the song was, but the song really worked for me. I'll tell you why. But before that, just the scene of her with Vijay Sethupathi, when that jatak, whatever, 2 jataks and you'll be dead. And she has no dialogue in that scene. She's just on the other side. She's standing behind the bars. I thought that worked really well. Like she had, I'm not like a major Deepika fan. I'll watch whatever once in a while, but I don't get like excited to go watch a movie because it's Deepika. But that one shot of her in the jail, in that across the bars from Vijay Sethupathi, I thought, wow, fantastic. And I know Divya also.
No, completely. I mean, this is what I was telling Dodi also as we walked out, saying that this for me in my head suddenly became a Shah Rukh Deepika movie and not a Shah Rukh Nayantara movie, because maybe she was there for maybe all of 20 minutes, 25 minutes. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But that 25 minutes, the kind of impact she created, forget the songs or anything, just the role she played, the way she was picturized. And anyway, Deepika is on some blaze right now. Whatever she's doing is, I think whatever she touches turns to gold. She has great screen presence. And I think sadly though, the contrast was really strong for me, where Shah Rukh had insane chemistry with Deepika and almost no chemistry with Nayantara. So, I mean, that contrast was very stark, especially after Deepika walked in.
Interesting comment on Nayantara and the chemistry there. Does it have anything to do with the way their scenes come together though? Because they don't actually have too many intimate scenes outside of the songs, right?
Yeah.
What should have been their intimate scene ends up becoming a
action scene.
Probably.
Yeah.
And also the context of Nayantara is, I'm only marrying because I need a father for my child. So that's not too much scope for romance there. So yeah, you're right, probably. But anyway, it showed that there was no chemistry.
Yeah.
Arya, how did you like the leading ladies? And who was the leadingest lady, according to you?
No, I fully agree, because I also feel like Nayantara, the way her character was written was like from the beginning, I somehow knew that she was being set up to replace one of the girls within Shah Rukh's squad. Like there was always some subtle sign there. Yeah. And so I feel like they didn't do full justice to Nayantara's like acting chops in the movie. I feel like her character somewhere there was some decline. And in contrast, Deepika's character was done so well. And obviously, like credit to her acting as well. She did stunningly. But in that sense, Nayantara just grew very bland in comparison to Deepika somewhere along the line, even in relation to Shah Rukh, because initially she's the wife and then later on she's just one of his girlies. So yeah,
that's a very good point. She actually goes missing, in fact, in In the climax, she's not there. She should have had one full track of her doing something, which she's not really there doing anything. She should have been individually doing something that had nothing to do with the girls.
Yeah,
I
fair
think
point.
that's where they missed out. She should have had one sequence in the end, either of fighting or whatever, some action sequence. I know that at the end they wanted to have that double Shah Rukh in the same shot fighting with one guy and doing all these complicated moves and all of that, where you have two different Shah Rukhs fighting with one guy. All of that was cool. But yeah, they kind of forgot Nayantara in the last 25-30 minutes, right? She was literally, she comes back only after the credits.
Yeah,
she's there in the background, I think, but she doesn't get to, given that she's a cop, she doesn't get to do anything.
No, it's also a pity because she's a very good actor. I really liked her in all of her other movies in the South, but yeah, they didn't do justice to her. I agree with both of you.
In general, though, Nayantara and other Tamil heroines don't get too much of a track in their films, right? Nayantara is actually the exception there, because there was a brief period of 3-4 years where she was headlining movies, right? And became the lady superstar.
Even this Raja Rani was that only, more or less. I think she had a major role in Raja Rani as well.
Yeah, but she's the exception there. And if you see all her other films, she was in Rajnikant's previous film as well. I don't think anybody remembers. She is the heroine in that film, right? And she has got like some 4 scenes or something. And she was in Ajit's most recent film as well. And it was not much to write home about. So
I guess it's the way they write. They write these female roles, especially in movies like these. But you would have thought, given that they gave her some importance in the first half.
Yes. Yeah.
All they needed was one action sequence in the end.
Correct.
Something of hers that she's doing outside, on the side, or that kid is still being held somewhere and she has to go save the kid and she does that while whatever. Something you could have written for her, which is happening parallelly with this awesome action scene that's happening here. That I think they missed out. One thing I wanted to say about Deepika is that jail scene. You don't, like, I think that's an accident in the bars, behind the bars, and she's silent and she's got this side angle. And she's just reacting to everything that Vijay Sethupathi is saying. It's entirely Vijay's scene. You don't bring Deepika to a set and then not give her dialogue. So I'm sure there was dialogue there. I don't know about accident or whatever, but there was more to that scene in some way. There must have been dialogue. There must have been something that either didn't get shot because they didn't have time, or because whatever, something went wrong, footage or what, I don't know what. And then they landed on, because all she has in that scene is about 30 seconds of glaring
reactions.
Eyes are red and one tear comes out. That 30 seconds has been like spliced 2 seconds every 30 seconds of Vijay Sethupathi talking for reaction shot. But it's literally one shot that she has. She does great, and whatever, it worked. It worked in the edit and they figured it out. But 100% there was more to that scene. Like, what I really liked after that was the fact that he grows up in the jail. I remember when the song started, or even before the song started, when they say, when they were going to hang her the first time and she faints, oh yeah, she's pregnant. We were whispering on the side also, okay, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And once she used, by that time you could recognize that jailer girl also, jailer lady also, Kaveri Amma.
Kaveri Amma.
At that point, I thought still whatever the moment he's born, she will be hanged and this kid will hear the story from Kaveri Amma and then learn about his past and whatever else. But the way they did it, which is him growing up inside the jail with all of those people, that is his house, that is his home, that's the people he knows, those are his mothers and his sisters and whatever else. That I think really tied in much better because he grew up there for 5 years, as opposed to he's heard the story secondhand from someone else. And as the song started, I realized, and I turned to Divya and I was like, the climax is going to happen here. They have to attack his home and then his girls are going to save this place. Of course, his girls didn't save it eventually. He only saved it because we're a hero-dominated society, sure. But it had to happen that way anyway. And I thought that worked really well. In theory, you can always have somebody telling you the story and therefore I'll have revenge because I heard this. But making it my home and my girls and all that worked superbly for me.
Dodi, so I have a quiz for you. You were saying Kaveri Amma. There are so many references from so many movies in this movie. Where does Kaveri Amma come?
Yeah, I know. Kaveri Amma is Swades.
Swades. Yeah, his adoptive mother in Swades and his adoptive mother here, both are Kaveri Ammas.
क्या हो रहा है ये? कौन है?
बताइए, सोचिए।
नहीं बता सकती। कौन हो तुम? चलो छोड़ो।
भटकन दही चटोकन। तू यशोदा, मैं हूँ
मेरा मोहन
Did you know that, Arya?
No.
Oh,
Watch Swades.
Arya is now judging me for
Wait,
knowing.
you've not watched Swades?
No.
Hello, Shah Rukh Khan.
Oh,
But this will be before she was born. Yeah, come on, it's fine.
it was before she was born.
Well, half
It
of
was
Shah Rukh
before
is before she was born, but this is also probably
I'm sure she's
90
seen DDLJ, which is before she was born. Well, much before she was born.
2003 or
Have
4.
you seen DDLJ, Mr.
Yeah.
Nitin?
No, I have not. But I don't claim to be a Shah Rukh Khan fanboy, do I?
You and I need to watch DDLJ.
Yeah, we should do one watch
Leave me
along,
alone,
DDLJ
yaar.
on
Ji lo
Swades.
aapki zindagi. Leave me alone.
So at least that much you know. By cultural osmosis, at least you know some of the things that happen in DDLJ.
Of course, everything. So we'll come back to the quiz part, right? Because I think there is an entire list of films and references that I'm going to quiz you guys. I don't know how to do it also,
Okay.
but we'll get to that. But yeah, I should also share my thoughts on Deepika because you've all gushed about her. Yeah, I can't take my eyes off Deepika in any film that she comes in. So in the context of this podcast, it was a good excuse for me to go back and watch Pathaan. And these film names are confusing now. When I want to say Jawaan, I say Pathaan and vice versa. So I also rewatched Pathaan, where again she is. In fact, there are shades of Nayantara's role in what she does in Pathaan, right? If you look at the costumes they're wearing, she's also a bit of an action hero as well over there. So that's there, and obviously she's very different in this. By the way, I did a quick check, right? So in Pathaan, you basically the first scene of Deepika you see is that song, right? So it opens with a song. In this film, it's literally 5 seconds of intro exposition, and then she's again in a song, right? Of course, but anyway, yeah, she's very good in the film. But wanted to get your thoughts on Jawaan versus Pathaan, guys, briefly.
एक सोल्जर ये नहीं पूछता देश ने उसके लिए क्या किया, पूछता है वो देश के लिए क्या कर सकता है. जय हिंद.
Lots of people are explaining that these two are very, very different films. And, one is a masala film. Pathaan is a masala film, while Jawaan's a mass film. I don't actually get it. I think both lie somewhere in between what is a good masala film and what is a good mass film. Because, like you guys mentioned, I think the backstory that is built for Jawaan, for the boy who was born in the jail and, with women around him, was done really well. And that's the sort of myth, sort of storytelling that underpins masala films, right? Whereas a mass film just moves from one big scene to another big scene. You could accuse both these films of doing that, but I think both films also take time to breathe and build as much of context for the characters as they want to. They don't do a great job of it. It is a bit ham-fisted and all of that, but it still takes its time. And a few of the beats land really well. I think in Pathaan, for instance, John Abraham's backstory is done really well. You understand why the guy has turned out the way he has, similar to how Shah Rukh's backstory in this film is done really, really well, right? And even Shah Rukh's backstory in Pathaan, for that matter. So for me, these were not two very different films, largely very similar. I think there was a little more of the South Indian style of getting the mass moments out in this film. And I think that really was the difference for me. I don't think there was much else. But I can see why that itself heightens the experience of watching Jawaan a little bit more, especially for the Bollywood audiences who've never seen something like this.
So I actually didn't like Pathaan all that much when I watched it. Again, I went and watched it with friends like somewhere in the middle of last semester. But I felt like the movie was very little mindless in some sense. Like all the characters and I agree, John Abraham's backstory was probably the only thing that was done decently well according to me in the movie, but everything else seemed very, very surface level. Like, oh, okay, just some time pass setups so that we can do action. And like even that action, at least according to me, I didn't really enjoy the action also all that much. The scene where he like pulls those two helicopters and all on that moving vehicle, I was like, what is happening right now? Can't handle too much. And like at one point I was like, Salman Khan's cameo also is like somewhat of a saving grace for this movie. That was how much I really actually did not like the movie. In comparison, Jawaan, I enjoyed a lot because I felt like there was more like nuance brought into the characters. There was a lot more, like, both movies obviously have like a lot of big names, it's there, but I feel like Jawaan all in all just had more sensitivity to it. Even action was done better, and the aspect of the South Indianness definitely added a lot more to the viewing experience for me, because for me South Indian action films stand like little above the ones in Bollywood.
Divya?
Looking at the similarities first of both movies, I think both were full-on masala entertainers. Both have no nuance. Both are not exceptional filmmaking or anything like that. So those were definitely not the reasons why I liked or disliked the other. Pathaan for me, I think was trying to be a spy thriller, but actually not done really well. And the only scene in Pathaan that worked phenomenally well was where Salman, and by the way, I'm not a Salman fan, but when Salman comes in the end,
Yes.
and they have that dialogue, right, where they mock the younger
These
breed
youngsters can't do what we do.
These youngsters basically can't keep up with us. I think that was really nice, and I really enjoyed, and I think I cheered that scene. But Pathaan didn't work for me because it was trying to be a spy thriller, and for me, that fell flat. Jawaan wasn't trying any of that. It was actually just an emotional roller coaster ride. It tugged every string of the heart it could possibly tug with no nuance. He's like, I will throw in a mother, I will throw in the mother dying, I will throw in this backstory, that backstory. Like, basically, Atlee went all out. So I'm emotional at heart. So just Jawaan just spoke to me more. So I will not say that this was a better movie than that, but Jawaan was infinitely more entertaining for me.
You said Pathaan is not an emotional film. That poor ghost of Dimple Kapadia is going to come and haunt you tonight.
Jawaan has some emotional core to it, which is not a knock on Pathaan. Pathaan is meant to be a mission movie. So there's a mission and you follow the action. The action now has to stand for itself, which it reasonably did, in spite of whatever. Even if that final jetpack sequence was a little out there, it's fine. It eventually more or less did what it was supposed to do. I think the other thing is you're also being asked to do the heavy lifting of seeing Shah Rukh as a pure action star, which we have not seen.
Yeah.
Whereas in Jawaan, it's easier to manage, even if, of course, he's doing like major masala action here also, but it's coming out of character. Out of some emotional thing that's happening in the core of the story.
Exactly.
So that is easier to stomach then also. I think that might be the major difference. Pathaan, I enjoyed, it was fine, but I was not as connected to it as I was with Jawaan. And Pathaan as well, again, same thing. I was very happy to be in the theater and watching people like respond to him after so long. I was like, okay, fine. Because I have been a Shah Rukh fan for ages and ages, as you guys know. But genuinely, the last 10 or 15 years, I don't think I've even seen half the movies he's come out with in the last 10, 12 years. Chennai Express, I haven't seen. Whatever, Zero, I haven't seen. Dear Zindagi or Hello Zindagi or whatever that Zindagi movie is called, I haven't seen. Harry Met Sejal, not seen. Rais, not seen. Like, I think Pathaan, one, I was glad for that. And then two, Jawaan, I think, has worked even better than that and brought like connection and all of that back.
Macha, I know the difference between the two films. So
now you know finally after multiple repetitions of the name.
But the difference is this, man. In I have to get the movie name set up. In Jawaan, it is Jatak and Chatak, whereas in Pathaan, it is Jetpack and Jetpack. Had to get that out.
Talking about Jatak, Vijay Sethupathi.
Villain. My name is Kali. I am the 4th largest weapon dealer in the world. अगर कोई मेरे इतने बड़े एम्पायर को हाथ लगाएगा तो Let's make a deal.
So Kali, no deal.
Thoughts on Vijay Sethupathi? Actually, Arya, I'm sure you watched a lot of his films as hero, as villain, as whatever else that he's been doing, experimental stuff like Super Deluxe and all. What do you make out of what Vijay Sethupathi did in this film?
I think the way his character was written somewhere down the line of the movie became a little like a parody towards the end, like especially in that last action sequence. And like I really like Sethupathi as I'm a huge fan, and I also really like him in villain roles. Like I enjoyed him in Vikram and all that. But I feel like this role in itself didn't do a lot of justice to him. I feel like he tried his best to bring in whatever he could to the role. Like I liked his very like South Indian delivery of those Hindi lines. Like I felt like it added a lot. But I feel like somewhere down the line, because it became somewhat of a parody, it lost that like usual Vijay Sethupathi effect. So I wasn't all that into his character in this movie. As a villain, it wasn't. I felt like the more systemic issues that they tackled in the movie like stood out more than him being like the big bad villain.
That's a good way to put it. Divya?
I think I agree with Arya. One, I really love Vijay Sethupathi. I think he's really amongst the finest actors we have. And I think I saw that movie with Trisha, 96. Absolutely loved that movie. And I love that he can do like an entire like range of roles and do it so convincingly and well. I loved him in Vikram. He's just brilliant in his roles. So, and I really feel like I don't think they extracted the kind of performance he was capable of out of this role.
Yeah, largely echo what both Arya and Divya are saying. He's clearly a much better actor than we can see in this movie. But I think they tend to rely a lot more on like screen presence and all of that, which he has. And the story is not written well enough for his side. Is even his Hindi dialogue delivery.
Yes.
Accent or no, okay. But he doesn't enunciate. I mean, dude, come on, like say the word. He's just like mumbling his way through the thing. And it's very difficult to tell what's going on in his dialogues. Now, a little bit more effort would have solved that. And that itself would have added another like 20% to his performance if he just enunciated clearly. He's got that bass in his voice and everything just becomes the same thing. You can't see the graph of the, audio wave file or whatever, so to speak. So I can't really tell half the time in Hindi what he's saying. Same thing with, he was in this Amazon show, right? Farzi. With,
exactly. With Shahid Kapoor.
Shahid.
Yes.
Again, it works because the character there at least is well written. There's a lot of stuff happening with the character. He's a bit of an asshole with his family. He's like being an asshole even with his boss going on and irritating and all of that. So the character is written much better there. But again, his dialogue delivery is kind of struggling. He needs a little bit of like training, coaching, whatever, to be able to deliver. And I'm not even talking about accent. And usually you act in another language. It's a little difficult if you're not very comfortable in that language. You don't know how it goes up and down and when your emotional thing has to come out. That you kind of see across the board. I would not be surprised if we watch the Tamil version of Jawaan and he pops 50% more than he's popping here because he'll just be like way more comfortable there. And even the end, I felt like they let him lose very quickly. There should have been a little bit more happening over there. Whether it was with that other big
Murad,
that big sidey that he had.
Exactly. Where did that Russian go suddenly with his leopard? Like he just vanished.
Leopard. Yeah, that Russian wearing a Bane mask.
No, that guy's that's like mafia from other parts of the world. Right?
That's Jawaan too. No, but the other thing that they do is they confuse his space with a lot of people. If you remember the first few scenes where he's like trying to get his daughter back and all, there's some random white chick. There's that brother guy who it was not clear to me until he died that he was a brother. I was like,
correct.
He must be
son. Treating him like a sidekick.
Yeah, his son or his sidekick or something. Suddenly his brother. Like it was not clear to me what that relationship was.
Yeah.
The age gap between him and his daughter doesn't make any sense if you're looking at Shah Rukh and Jawaan, Vikram Rathod and what's our other guy's name? I forgot that character's name also. What's our younger character?
Azad.
In those like conference room scenes and all, he's got like random people hanging around. There's some white chick, there's some other 2-3 guys with guns. They're all detracting from like give attention to your main guy. That she's in the car with him also later. At one point, he's doing some phone call from the car, and that white chick is with him. So I'm like, is that white chick supposed to be the mom? Like, what is happening?
Mom.
Somebody has to be there, right? There has to be a mom.
He was also born in the jail.
No, I'm saying the girl has to have a mom, right? He has a daughter. We know there's a daughter, so there's a mom somewhere.
Like that.
So
Okay.
I was like, what is happening? This was not clear. It was very like muddled
It was
and
not.
messy. And all of that takes away from allowing him to just be the man.
Vijay Sethupath's appearance is supposed to be like a parody of Vijay Mallya, right? If Vijay Mallya wants to repay those loans, he can just start suing all these production houses. So from whatever I have read online, what I hear is that Vijay Sethupathi is in a lot of debt because he's produced a few duds, and this is something that happens to a lot of big stars when they try to get into the movie financing side of things, and they burn their fingers. So he's literally doing anything that is available to him, and which would probably explain the number of villain roles that he's doing, because he doesn't have to, right? And there's not a diss on villain roles per se, because and we all know that being a good baddie is not easy. But for someone who's a mega star at a stage who's being spoken of in the same breath as Vijay and Ajit, to then start doing these villain roles back to back. It started with, I think, Master, which was the first time he showed up as a villain, right? And then there was Vikram, and then there was Peta, where he was the villain again. In fact, it started with Peta, I should say. Peta, then Master, then Vikram, and now this. It also hits your image because you're becoming lesser and lesser saleable as a hero, because there is a history of you getting beaten up by other big heroes, right? There's a reason why people don't do this generally. But leaving that aside, right? Maybe he has ambitions to become a big villain and become really good at it. What really troubles me is that he's really bad in these films. I don't know. You guys say that you liked him in Vikram. I didn't like him in Vikram. It didn't work for me at all. There is also this big action scene in the middle where he's landing blows after taking that pill, and he's just completely out of it. He doesn't look like a person who can land those blows, right? He doesn't have the body language to convey any sort of menace at all. There's that as well. And the same problem in this film, right? And I think one of the reasons why he sort of goes floundering towards the end, and I like how Arya put it, he's not really the villain. It's the system and all those systemic issues are the actual villain in this film, because he is not good enough to stand up as a villain against two Shah Rukh Khans, like with those 8-packs. Because there's a lot of energetic action stuff happening in this film, right? And Vijay Sethupathi doesn't really match up to it at all. Of all these films that I mentioned, the one film where he really works is Master, but that's also because it's a very, very well written villain role where there's again a very good backstory. He has a killer punch in that film, so there's a backstory to that itself, and he keeps wielding his punch as a trump card, so to speak, and then the battle against Vijay becomes that much more mythical. It doesn't work at all in any of these other films. Absolutely hated him in Farzi. I think I hated Farzi because of him. And there were these memes that were doing the rounds where, now Tamil audience was seeing this film, like Vijay Sethupathi goes to Hindi films and he just speaks in Tamil. And I think that's a great way to put it. Yeah. He's not speaking in Hindi. He's just speaking in Tamil. You're completely right. He's not putting that effort to enunciate. And it is difficult even for actors making the effort. I think a hat tip to Mohanlal, who famously played a cop in Company many years back, and some of the dialogues from that film are memes now, right? That's what happens if you can't get the language right. And the funniest thing in this film is there is this court martial that happens, right, where the guns don't work. Yeah. And he comes and he then explains the gun as a manual. It is in foreign language. That's like a very meta insight point. Like Hindi also foreign language. I'm not able to talk. Like that's what he was saying. The funniest moment in the film for me was that he looks at the camera and says foreign language. They didn't understand. What?
Preemptively giving an excuse for himself.
Yeah.
But so undercooked roles, really.
Completely. And again, comparing with Pathaan, did I get that right? Yeah, I got that right. John Abraham really, I mean, he's terrible in his dialogue delivery. I think everything he says sounds like rubbish, but he completely sells the menace of a strong villain. And yes, the background music every time he appears in the film is quite something.
In fact, they should do a Jawaan, sorry, now it's happening to me as well, Pathaan prequel where he's an agent along with Shah Rukh or something, and whatever, and in the end he turns weak. You can do
but Shah Rukh doesn't know him in the story. So unfortunately they can't do that now. Yeah, they could have had it that way, yes.
And anyway, now they're going forward towards larger.
They will anyway do one entire Spyverse prequels,
Tiger 3 is
sequels,
coming, no?
many.
And Salman has
3 is
already
coming.
said he needs help, right, in his next mission. So
Yeah.
in Pathaan, he actually tells Shah Rukh that
So
I
Shah
will need your
Rukh's
help.
special
Yeah,
appearance.
so he'll come.
Okay,
What
so
else? Go ahead.
let's
Okay.
talk about the various films from which this film generously borrows, right? To start with, Atlee used to be Shankar's assistant director. And Shankar, of course, is the master of the template, the vigilante template. That is, which is what this film is. And I think the first vigilante film that came out in Tamil cinema was Gentleman, which at least this grammar of the vigilante flick. And Shankar then did the same thing multiple times, right? He did it slightly differently each time. There was Indian with Kamal Hassan. There's Indian 2 coming sometime next year. So that was the next film he did. There was Onion with Vikram, which was again very similar. There was Mudalwan, which was a very, very different take on the vigilante flick, where instead of becoming a vigilante, he actually comes into the system and becomes a chief minister. So this is something that Shankar has done time and again in many different ways. There was, and Shankar also did Endiran, right, which is not really a vigilante flick, but he did Endiran. So there was another meme that I saw today actually, where so there is this scene in Endiran where so Rajnikant plays the scientist and the robot, right? So there is a scene early on where he's displaying his robot to the audience, and the audience is throwing questions, and he's the robot is impressing them with his answers. So someone has morphed Rajni's face with Atlee's face. Okay, both the scientist and the robot are not Rajni now; they're Atlee, and somebody from the crowd is asking Atlee robot, or actually asking Atlee scientist. So, from how many films have you lifted stuff in this film that you've done? And the robot responds with a huge list. Okay? So, like, and the camera just slightly shows you names. And so there's Nayagan, there is Endiran, there is Indian, something. It's a huge list, like a huge vast list. And then he gives it to the audience and he says, for you guys to read this list itself, it will take 2 days. Lots of callbacks. So I don't know how to do this. Like, do we want to go around in circles till we run out of films that we can mention?
Maybe talk about the scene or whatever, and we'll try to figure out.
Or I'll mention the film, and you guys tell me what the line in the movie was the reference, right? So, for instance, Swades, the answer would have been Kaveri Amma, which is already out of the way.
Kaveri Amma.
Okay, so and it could be a line or it could be a theme from the film or something. Okay, so let's go. Chak De India. Who knows?
Girls. Him leading a team of girls.
Fair enough. But also coming back to show that, I was not a drogi, so to speak.
Yes.
Also.
Got it. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I play for India.
Yes. Okay, next one. This is an easy one. Dil to pagal hai.
Naam to suna hoga is the first.
Yeah.
First time he says Naam to suna hoga is Dil to
Naam
pagal
to
hai.
suna
Rahul.
hoga, yeah.
Rahul
Naam to suna. Yes.
नाम तो सुना होगा.
हाय.
पहचाना? कल रात को आपके डांसिंग स्कूल में मुलाकात हुई थी मुझसे. Remember?
Yes.
I'm Rahul. नाम तो सुना होगा.
Okay. I'm also going to throw some googlies here, which might be completely unintended, by the way, but I will still throw them. Why not?
Okay,
Baby Driver.
Thanks. Oh, him listening to music, the older
music.
Yeah. On that note, what is the deal with him? Why is he listening to music all the time? And he's still stuck in old times, so he's still using wired
whatever he had in the villages.
Cue for Ramaya Vastavaya right now.
Correct. He's listening to old songs. But it's not very well explained. I guess he's searching for some connection, and the only connection he has is the past to music or something.
Yeah.
That way, that line was funny. When he first hugs him and everything, he's like, okay, don't kiss me.
What was he going for there? I wanted to understand that. Like, what is this don't kiss me thing?
Comedy sometimes, but it worked here. It's just this, I don't know you, so like I get it that you have some feelings towards me, but I cannot reciprocate those feelings. So it's okay, hug me, but like don't invade my personal space.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Bahubali. I need two though. One is very obvious, but I need two.
One is of course the
jail.
Oh, you went for the
baby.
Yeah, that is one.
Yes,
the other one is very straightforward.
The first one.
When he looks at that Murad person and says, "Oh, Bahubali."
Yeah, he actually terms exactly. But good. I thought you'll go for that moment first, but you went for the baby, which is also equally.
The baby itself from Bahubali is Lion King reference.
Lion King, yeah.
Lion King.
What
Which
is the
comes
other
on-
Lion King reference? There is one more Lion King reference.
Yes.
What?
Anyone here? Ladies? Girls?
Bete
Auntie
ko
and
no.
niece.
Simba and Mufasa.
He says Simba and
Oh.
Mufasa.
Oh.
Correct.
This is, you think this is Simba and that is Mufasa, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to go a little random. So, Sholay.
Surely. That guy with
Sell-
that sidecar. One of
There
his
is one sidecar
Oh,
also.
Oh, right. There's a sidecar.
There is a
one.
sidecar also. But also the belt or chain or whatever he uses
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
that
same thing
belt
that
to hit.
Gabbar used to wear.
Gabbar has that bullet belt, similar type
Yeah.
of belt. he
Similar
uses
belt
to
which he
hit people,
uses
yeah.
like a whip or whatever.
Which, by the way, when Tenzi, what is his that kid's name who grows up and becomes a cop to come back,
I
whatever
forget
that
his name.
cop.
Yeah.
When he goes and
Ah.
activates all the old gang,
Yeah.
the moment they showed one guy was in an auto. I was like, hey, Basha Steve is back.
Basha! Correct. I thought
Basha
of that
Bhai
also.
Steve is coming.
Basha Bhai team is back. They've all like gone and embedded themselves into
Yeah.
the local.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a random one. Gully Boy.
Apna time aayega.
No.
I
Hint.
don't know.
Vijay Sethupathi is the hint.
Right? Murad.
Ah.
Bharath. Okay, Kill Bill. This is easy. It's a visual, it's a very strong visual, which you might have
Pregnant.
missed. There was one.
Pregnant lady.
Oh,
Ah.
no, she doesn't
Right.
kill whatever. But that's also interesting. But no, there's another one. There's a very, very
Straight
in the
visual.
song. I don't remember which song. The songs are, by the way, so generic.
Oh,
there's-
so generic songs. Oh my
The
God.
music is
Not
terrible.
one is
right?
stuck. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
music, best thing is that background hook step that he comes up with, right? The jailer one is so good. In this film, there's not one beat that is memorable. I don't know what he was doing. He just winged it completely. Arya, do you agree or you're looking quizzically?
Not really. I mean,
Oh,
but this is also like from some biased perspective because I'm just like Anirudh Ravichandra fan.
Sorry, I meant Anirudh.
All
I said
around.
Atlee, but I meant
Yeah.
Anirudh. Sorry. Yeah.
No, but I agree that the songs are very generic and like I felt like his Hindi lyrics also were like very
Yeah.
but I like the background score though. Like I feel like
It wasn't too bad
that
compared
was
to the songs. Yeah.
that was done well. But the only song that I think was okay was Chaleya. Other than that, yeah, no, the songs didn't hit like let's say like Jailer and stuff. But I really like the background score to be honest. So
By the way, the jail song is in Tamil, right? And I thought it was a good song. But in the Hindi version that I saw, the jail song is it has Tamil lyrics in it. The Arari Raro. Yeah, it has actual Tamil lyrics and the song has Tamil lyrics in it.
I don't remember.
I don't know if
busy
that's
I was admiring Deepika.
maybe certain lines or whatever. I was like emotional in the story of this child is going up
fair.
there.
No, it was okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I actually do not remember the song itself. Like
Songs
when
were
you
it,
now you said RRR, that like okay, that sounds kind of familiar. I have to when we talk about background music, Anirudh, I know I did this. I think I did this last time also. This practice of putting English lyrics behind the
I love it.
background, I get damn irritated.
Running with King Khan, bullets rain down like it's thunder. Ready or not, she got the Glock, she'll put you under. You know it game time on the front line till it's over. Deep in the trenches for ya, like a soldier.
The music
was
is good, but the lyrics irritate me. Running with King Kong, bullets rain down like it's thunder.
Tanda.
Ready or not, she got the Glock, she'll put you under. You know, we game time on the front line, because army, on the front line till it's over. Deep in the trenches for you, like a soldier.
It makes no sense. It's not even rhyming. It's become a Tirajendra rhyme at this point.
Over soldier, like that. They'll make anything rhyme. But I just like get damn irritated with this. Even
Can
that.
I give
go ahead.
reference though?
Yeah.
I mean, like I'll give some context because so the person who featured in the preview track, her name is Raja Kumari. So she's this Indian
Yes.
American
It's Raja
rapper.
Kumari. Okay.
Yeah. So this is her. So the way the song went down was Anirudh and she have collaborated before. I think they did like an Ajit movie and she's worked with A.R. Rahman on Katriveli Day and stuff. But anyways, so Anirudh approached her saying, we're doing Shah Rukh Khan movie. I know you're a Shah Rukh Khan fan. Give me Shah Rukh Khan song about him being King Khan. And he has a squad of girls following him. So write lyrics. And so she made the rap. And then
lyrics.
sent it to him. And he yeah, these are her lyrics.
Okay.
Which, I mean, the lyrics don't really make sense. But I don't know. I really liked the track.
Fair enough. At least this time I can't
that track. I like that track.
I can't
like
blame the usual lyric writers then. Rajkumari's songs, by the way, are very good though. I've heard a few of her songs.
Very, very good.
Okay, this is coming out of love, so fine. I won't trash it too much. But nevertheless, these kind of vocalizing the background track.
This one refrain I really like. This Raja Kumari line that you did not like, Dodi. I think is
the line I don't like. The music works for me.
I like the music and the line. I like the
fair enough.
I like the powerful electric guitar like voice of Raja Kumari that delivers these. I just hear anda only. I don't know what she's saying, but it's good for me. Good enough for me. Okay, Inception.
Inception. Something to do with making a team?
Hey, no.
I'm lost.
Opening scene, Machan. Shah Rukh Khan washes up on the shore.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Right. Just like Leo. By the way, speaking of opening scene, Divya.
Best opening scene ever for Shah Rukh. Like, best opening scene ever. Him suddenly showing up. I don't even know what that village, maybe some Indo-Tibetan, Indo-Chinese, some village. But him suddenly showing up as this demigod. Incredible scene. Like, what a scene to come back to. And his opening scene in Pathaan pales in comparison to this. I remember the Pathaan opening scene also so clearly.
It was really bad. That helicopter and all that. It should have been like much better than it was. I was like, what is this? Why is this so dull?
Pathaan opening is good, man. He's inside that thing. He's tied up and he then
he's tied up and then he escapes with that chopper.
See, both are action openings.
It was not done well.
Yeah, but it wasn't done. Like, this was
very good.
Atlee,
I think
like,
this one
all
wins.
out. He went all out.
Hands down, this one's better. No doubt about it.
That one I felt was too overwrought. I was really unimpressed by that opening. I went to Pathaan and I was like, okay, some action will be there. And it started very like dull. That whole he escapes from those guys that then takes over that chopper and whatever else was very dull. I get it looked exciting when you wrote it or whatever or thought of it, but you didn't like do it well.
Yeah, the quiz is over because the others are all quite obvious ones. Except this one you might not get. Dodi, I expect you to though. Top Gun.
Top Gun. What?
Just old man looking hot in a movie. I don't know.
No, you'll have to.
No, it falls out of a plane, lands in enemy lines, and then behind enemy lines, and then needs to. Yeah, it's a bit.
It's a bit of a stretch. Yeah.
It's a bit of a stretch, but it's okay. It also happens.
I will say that there was a random Joker reference in the way Shah Rukh Khan sort of behaves in the train.
Yes.
Like this crazed villain before he actually says, I'm not really a villain. But he borrowed from Joker there for sure.
Yeah, that is
and the Family Man was a very obvious reference in the.
Yeah, the girl and
the mother and daughter combo getting into the train together.
Priyamani.
Priyamani. I like her. I like her as an actor.
That was good.
So there was this other video of fans reacting to this film, right? So they are pointing out that this film is copied from a bunch of other movies. But they're like, how is he copying from films that only got released like last week? How did he know? Like Jailer, for instance. This film has lines that would have worked 100 times better in Jailer than anything that is there in Jailer itself. So Dodi, your famous line, Jailer.
And these are my girls.
These are my girls. Okay. What was the better line in the film? Was it
बेटे को हाथ लगाने से पहले बाप से बात करो.
बेटे को हाथ लगाने से पहले बाप से बात कर.
So what is the better line? Was it that or the line where he says, this jail belongs to my girls?
The way it works in the movie, the beta bap line is better in my opinion.
Because
but I think because of the meta story and all. But actually the other line I like personally as a better thing, which is a bit more theme to the movie. But I think the first one gets a lot of there's a lot of like symbolic stuff that's happening because of the situation. Somebody was asking me, by the way, they said, "Oh, is this like a political statement?" I said, "It's." To be honest, you could have made this movie any other time also. It's just that certain lines are hitting harder, and you're giving them more importance. But otherwise, it's not like the story would not have otherwise. So anyway,
But the audience erupted on this line. Like people couldn't stop cheering.
Feeling it.
For a couple of reasons,
Everyone
right?
felt it.
We have had these kinds of lines and these kinds of movies in Tamil forever, right? And Mudalvan, for instance, Raghuvaran literally plays a person who sounds like Karunanidhi when Karunanidhi was the chief minister. And in fact, Shankar screened the film for Karunanidhi before releasing it, and with the blessings of the chief minister itself, right? So there is that backstory. But things have changed now, obviously. People are a little more careful about what they say, especially in a national context. And it coming from Shah Rukh, who has been directly in the firing line. I think all of that is what makes it hit harder this time around. Fairly strong lines though. Yeah, a lot of people quite understandably
everybody reacted to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, Jailer, right? So this film does so there is that flashback in Jailer where they establish that this guy is actually a jailer. For 5 minutes in that film, he's a jailer. This film, where he actually comes as the jail warden, is a 100 times more powerful scene. Obviously, Shah Rukh is able to pull it off because he's younger and fitter and whatnot, but also so much more energy and chutzpah in that scene, right?
No, but there is more in the scene itself, right? There, it's there just to serve a 5-minute flashback. Here, there's a whole storyline running through it and everything. So it's not even meant to be part of the story. It's okay, we've called him jailer. Now we need some backstory to establish that. So they just threw in something. I mean, it's not that important eventually. Here, at least a lot of things are happening in the jail.
Yeah.
The entire Deepika's track is actually happening inside the jail, right? I mean, whatever love story and all before shot, but irrelevant to it.
One thing I didn't mention, the Kill Bill reference that I was talking about. In that song, the girls are dressed in yellow and black.
Yellow and white. The yellow.
Yeah, in the same exact same outfit.
I forgot.
Basically. Yeah. Okay. Vikram. Apart from Vikram Rathore, how does this film reference Vikram?
Cigar. Chomping on the cigar. Vikram also chomps on cigar, no?
No, cigarette.
And it's one of the rare
that.
few times Shah Rukh is smoked on screen. I mean, though he smokes off screen, but this is one of the rare few times Shah Rukh smokes on screen.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
So the scene I was going for, and this is like extremely...
Is it Sethupathi taking that pill thingy? I mean, he takes
that
drugs
is a good one.
Vikram,
that is a
but
good
like here he's taking the pill.
Definitely that one also. 100%. I think that was intended. I don't know if the one that I have in my mind is intended. So there is the scene in Vikram where he's standing outside the car and the kid is inside the car, right? When he's trying to save the kid, the child, right? The grandson. And he screams Vikram. In this film, Shah Rukh opens the car and Nayantara's daughter is inside the car and he looks at the girl and says, "Is this also my child or something?"
yeah, because she says...
That's good comedy. She says
correct.
daddy or whatever.
But also basically just the scene of,
Papa.
I'm in this context, how do I deal with a child in this context? Thing from Vikram, anyway, it struck me. But
but that was good comedy.
The Vijay Sethupathi drug one is a good one. Yeah, that was good comedy. Yeah. But also Matrix, the same thing. He has a red pill and a blue pill. Many red pills and many blue pills. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, I think there is faulty ammunition, whatever, becoming a big controversy, which is from Rang De Basanti, or rather the armed forces being impacted by corruption. And then there is Gajini. I was reminded of Gajini by the funny tics that the father Shah Rukh has, plus the memory aspect of it. Yeah, that's about it. I'm sure there are more, but we can stop. There's also Batman.
There's also Khalnayak reference.
Oh yeah, directly.
Khalnayak himself is there.
Yes. No, him coming on the scooter.
And he comes singing
a song. There is a scene like that where he comes on a bike singing Nayak Nahi Khalnayak Hu Main.
Oh, exact same scene. Okay.
Yeah.
That I don't remember.
Yeah, it's basically the same scene. Yeah, it's the same scene. That's the only reason he comes on a scooter, right? In the film.
Yeah, probably.
Nobody even rides those scooters anymore.
Yeah.
Arya, you know who Sanjay Dutt is?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
That also you could have gotten someone with, sure, Khalnayak, so it was fun and whatever. But he's also passed it by. I don't think people are that excited to see Sanjay Dutt. In theory, you could have gotten someone else also. I don't know why of all people, they picked Sanjay Dutt.
Because it's a jail.
Who would have
it's very
done
meta. Because it's
Oh,
a
jail,
jail, they got
Khalnayak,
Sanjay.
jail, Sanjay.
Arey, Sanjay Dutt
Ah.
jail, not
Oh,
Khalnayak.
Sanjay Dutt jail. On the level. Okay, fine.
Correct,
Sure.
correct,
I
correct.
didn't even start to correct that. Well done. Okay, very good. You are teaching me
Munna
something
Bhai
about Bollywood.
style. No, I was actually thinking that the kind of role that Sanjay Dutt played, the very relaxed, casual cop,
Yeah, yeah.
I really think, I don't know why, Jackie Shroff kept coming to my mind. I really think Jackie Shroff would have played that role really well, and I'm also dying to see him back on screen. I like Jackie Shroff a
Jailer,
lot.
Macha. Why did you
watch
not
Tamil
watch Jailer?
movies. He's doing a lot of work in Tamil.
I know. I am yet to see. I will watch.
Yeah.
Please don't. He's a very big letdown in Jailer. Very worst.
Go back and watch some old Jackie
plays-
movie if you have that much
Yeah.
Jackie Phoenix.
Of,
I wanted to talk a little bit about the
benefits.
influence of South to Bombay and to Bollywood. I mean, everybody is turning towards this. Mass has been running for a long time. Bollywood movies had mass back in the day also and have been having it on and off, but for some reason they have gotten a bit more sanitized now. But now I think they're coming back to the idea that massy stuff works, right? And it's not just Pathaan and Jawaan, but even if you look at like some
Gadar
of the
too.
Dabang, Gadar also. All of this stuff is the old school. And Gadar at least is directly picking up from the original Gadar at the time at which mass existed in that way. Right?
Correct.
Masala mass existed that way. But there's certain things I see here, like for all that Atlee has done well with the emotional stuff and all that, some of the scale here still looks a little tacky. You see the songs and all, they're not memorable even visually. Like, first of all, we're
Agree.
saying the songs themselves are not memorable
Yeah.
audio-wise. But even visually, they're not very memorable. You have a lot of people, you have this big set, but it doesn't feel like you've spent the money the right way or whatever. Right? The same shot you see from a Rocky or Rani Karan Johar set, you immediately know that, holy shit, this is like
It's
a
lavish.
big movie. It's lavish. Right? This is
Yeah.
tacky and missing some kind of class. I think Atlee hasn't yet figured out how to. And I don't know if that's just Atlee, by the way. There's something that way the taste is shown. I don't know. It doesn't really match up to the amount of money in theory that they're spending or they have access to be able to spend. And that's not just the sets and the costume. The choreo is also boring. None of the
It is
steps
very
are-
boring. Yes. Yeah.
That Zinda Banda should have had some great steps.
Yes.
And it has like extremely boring steps. Like you can't even like begin to think of that hook. He's doing something with his elbow and he's doing some nonsense. And it's like, what is this? What
No
are you doing?
hook step has come out of the movie. At
Yeah,
least
no hook.
Pathaan, that hook step came.
Yeah.
But here,
Correct. Whereas that also was not such a great hook step. It was quite like nonsensical, but okay. That was like a forced hook step in my opinion, but sure. But it's not just that. Even I think there's something in the way in which we style ourselves in the South or whatever. Even if you see Nayantara's costumes, they're quite bad and generally unmemorable. Only in Chaliya, some of her saris are fine. But if you look at that Ramaya Vastavaya,
in the songs, it is terrible.
Especially in the Ramaya Vastavaya, the last dress that she's wearing, that whatever costume that is, I'm just like, who would put your like main heroine? She's in front and that thing is so like bad. Please, ladies, jump in and tell me I'm wrong or.
No, absolutely.
I'm waiting for Arya to
we
do
were
a takedown.
talking
Come
about
on, Arya.
this throughout.
Yeah, I agree. Like in Master and stuff, like a lot of the songs, again, going back to like Anirudh and songs, like there are a lot of hook steps and a lot of like catchy phrases that's like attached or like memorable even after the movie comes out. But I feel like that did not stick in the movie.
Yeah.
Ramaya Vastavaya, she looks like an auntie and that she looks like she should be a
Yeah,
background
that
dancer. Like the
song-
costume is not popping, right? You have to be able
Yeah.
to say that our main lead is up here and even if there are 1,000 people in the background, you should be looking at this person. But she looks no different from anybody else at the back. It was just like disappointing. That's the other thing
That's
that
an interesting point.
also brings Nayantara's character all the way down. She's not popping.
Yeah.
Chaliya, she looks good.
The
There's
songs were
something-
so generic that I don't remember any of these songs that you're telling me, except that, but
Neither do I.
know that.
Ramaya
I just
Vastavaya,
like
the
one of
last
them-
one, post credits.
I get that.
one. Yeah.
But you're right. There is no memorable song from a lot of Ajit and Vijay's most recent films, at least, which sort of are the films that conform squarely to this template, right? I'm sure amongst the fans, these songs are big hits when they come out, but even they would move on from them very fast and, go on to the next film or whatever. There's no song that really sticks in mind, visually or even audio. And it's confused me for many years that even someone like Rahman does music for a movie like Mersal and Bigil also, I think, is Rahman. I think there's one memorable song across those two films put together. So I don't even know.
We can't
what
go
it
down
is.
this line of Rahman. I think it's been like a good decade or more since he's made anything decent. So
There comes the punchline of the podcast. Okay.
Easily more than a decade.
Coming soon. Next episode. This will be the decision. This will be the next discussion. Okay. Cool. I wanted to ask one thing. Obviously, the whole vigilante justice thing is new to Bollywood, right? And it's, I think, broadly, right? This template.
Coming back. It's not new. It was there earlier. It stopped. It came back. If you see Sunny Deol movies from the 90s, they're all this only. Aakhri Rasta that I'm talking about. Do you remember Aakhri Rasta? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not seen it, but I know
I'll tell you the South version of it. You'll be able to tell immediately. Amitabh and his wife Jayaprada, and they get whatever, she's pregnant, they're gonna have a kid, or they have the kid already, they have a baby or whatever. He gets treated by one MLA, one policeman, one doctor or whatever, something happens. Then they end up, when he's not around or whatever, they send him off somewhere, they rape her, she kills herself, baby is crying, he gets framed for the murder and he goes to jail. Now, and the baby is taken care of by his friend Anupam Kher, who does not know that, the baby doesn't know that all this passed. He comes out after 20 years. First thing he does is, he's Christian. He goes to church and he confesses to a father saying, I'm going to kill 3 people. Forgive me, father. Father goes and tells cops. Now he wants to kill each of these 3, and they've now become chief minister and they've become like DIG of police and whatever. And the cop who is assigned to protect these 3 is the younger
son. Is the son.
Who, after 2 killings, figures out that it's actually his dad, whatever it is, and everything, and then it's a reworking of that for me all the way back there. But I'm sure there's a Rajni Kamal whatever version of this.
There is a Kamal film. This film was remade in Tamil with Kamal. It's called Oru Kaidiyan Diary, which is
Oru Kaidiyan Diary, correct.
Yeah. So okay, but the interesting part, I didn't know, by the way, that Aakhri Rasta is the original of Oru Kaidiyan Diary, which I saw many years back. Broadly conforms to this. It's not exactly vigilante, it's still personal revenge. Vigilante is when you go against the system, right? Which is what Gentleman, Indian, and all those do.
No, but in the end, people start turning on everybody else because the story becomes clear. Whatever.
It starts out as personal revenge, but becomes, but
they are all corrupt.
The interesting question here, do you know who directed Aakhri Rasta?
No. Give some clue.
K. Bhagyaraj, who is a Tamil actor, right?
The entire action sequence, where it's happening, there's one assassin sequence that he's trying to shoot. He's trying to shoot from a rooftop into a hotel where they've placed the doctor, who is Raza Murad again. They've put Raza Murad and they've closed the curtains and all that. That thing is Nama Adyar, this thing.
Oh, so there you figured out the Tamil connection.
No, the hotel name is there also. So they're shooting in Chennai. They're shooting in Chennai. A lot of those shoots used to happen in the south back then. It was much cheaper and better. So a lot of these 80s movies all shot in the south.
Chennai cheap and best.
Shot like few miles away from where I used to stay earlier. No, back. Sholenagaram, Ramanagaram.
Correct. True.
But well twisted on the Aakhri Rasta, because I went in fully.
I didn't know that.
Even the entire trailer, I had passed the trailer. I was like, okay, fine, he's taking it. The only thing that didn't make sense to me was the Zinda Banda song. I was like, how is this guy with the girls if if the girls are part of that guy's team? And then well twisted, where he's pretending to be whatever.
But it's not actually. There's not revenge, right? That's the difference between vigilante and revenge. Right? I'm going specifically for the system is dirty. So there are so many films in Tamil now, right? There's every Atlee film with Vijay, by the way, is a take on this sort of. Actually, maybe not everyone. At least Theri was. But I think Pokkiri also was, and like all the other films we mentioned, right? This taking the system on Rang De Basanti probably is the one film that comes to my mind where Bollywood did it, right, in a big way. And then there's this one. But why are these films such a big deal? And I wanted to ask you specifically, Dodi, as someone who follows cinema, is vigilante justice like a trope in other parts of the world where movies get made with that formula again and again and again and have so much success?
It's fantasy still, right? Everybody knows that everything is corrupt in real life. We are all very aware.
But does it happen anywhere else? That's my question.
Oh, it's good. Not really. Maybe they're local. It's not in Hollywood anyway. Not that much. Hollywood doesn't have this concept of vigilante justice really. But it's there across languages in India.
It is, yeah.
But
Because
also the way you look at movies is a utopic escape, right,
Yeah.
from what actually exists in the world right now. And if you look at India, then I'm not surprised that there's so many vigilante movies. It's
Yeah.
what people hope for or dream about.
Arya, are
And
there
everyone
such
anyway
themes?
loves our Robin Hood.
Robin. Yeah. Arya, are there such themes in K-dramas and in Korean cinema that you watch closely?
Actually, yeah, there are quite a few vigilante K-dramas, vigilante like Japanese movies also, but not quite in the same way that the vigilante movies there are more. I think they blur the line between like vigilante and spy stuff more in those contexts, but here it's
Pathaan,
very like
Jawaan coming together.
but here it's very like okay, like anti-government and this and that, which is I think also because of the nature of the political system right now.
Yeah. Fair. So if you were to point out the difference between Atlee's last film and this film, this is Vigilante, that was Bigil Uncle. Okay, that's really bad. I'm going to edit it out. Sorry. It's like really bad. Sorry. Had to get it out. Had to get it out of the system. Once it comes to the mind, you have to say it. Yeah.
I think Shah Rukh Khan in general hams a lot. And if you notice this movie, he was the most relaxed I've seen him in his acting style. It was almost like he was not trying too hard. He usually tries very hard. I really thought he was very relaxed. The other movie I thought he was sort of like that was Swades. And I know I can't compare those two movies, but this movie, he was just relaxed and having fun. I don't know if it was the nature of the movie. It's a home production. I'm not really sure why, but or it's 56 years old and wiser and older. But yeah, I just thought he was very relaxed and just having a good time.
ये बताओ तुम्हें चाहिए क्या?
चाहिए तो आलिया भट्ट।
अब और क्या चाहिए?
एक गाना सुनाइए ना।
रमैया वस्तावैया रमैया।
Yeah, that's a good point. See, he's been searching. We are talking about last 10 years or 15 years of his career, right? The big three Khans have kind of settled into some space, each of them. They've kind of aged out, but they're holding. 10 years ago, if you had said Salman, Shah Rukh and Amir, they were on the decline. But in the last 5 years, they've again, Amir changed his track and said, you know what, I'll be this guy who makes a movie once in 3 years. So I'll create scarcity. I'll do some like idea filmmaking or whatever. Correct. And then people will come and watch that. So he's gone on that track. I'm the intellectual who comes up with particular idea and I go all in on that idea. Salman very early on went into this masala mode. He was already making remakes. Ready is a remake of Pokri.
Yeah.
He's been doing these South remakes. Prabhudeva and him teamed up way back when. And they've been making these action movies and whatever.
Starting with Dabang, he was,
Dabang itself is this kind of action, but placed in their state UP type of concept. But the same thing works there also.
Correct.
And so they caught both of these. And Shah Rukh is still sitting with that, I'm the romantic. And romantic you are going to age out of, and it starts looking really, really bad at some point, right? And he struggled in the middle. And I think for him now, even he's gone all the way around and come back to, you know what, action works, mass works. This is the stuff that gets people back to theater again and again.
Correct.
Even if there was a good romantic movie now, it will not run all that much in theaters. It's the kind of movie that will get pushed into we'll watch it when it comes home. But the only way to force people to come out is to have like big spectacle. Spectacle means action. Action means an action hero. So he's also had to adjust into this space now and find his new avatar sitting here.
But actually, all these guys are action is something that continues to sell, right? It's what Bruce Willis kept doing for many years.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, you can age and continue to do it, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger did it for so many years as well. All these guys, I think, will. Tom Cruise does a slightly different version, but these guys, they hold guns and shoot, right? That's always going to work. Right? You can't go wrong when you do that. But yeah, it's glad that Shah Rukh Khan has found his niche.
The idea that these movies are working is not necessarily a new idea that's come about. If you look at and when I used to work in UTV, whatever, 15 years ago, we used to also end up putting a lot of movies onto the secondary channels. So whatever the Shah Rukh Khan or the Akshay Kumar movie will go on to Star Plus. But Star Gold would get all of these Khoon
Surya
Ka Rishta,
Vamsham.
Badle Ka Farishta, or whatever nonsense stuff.
The old stuff, yeah.
Which is all which is all dubs.
Correct.
Crappy Telugu dubs, or even like lower end Tamil dubs. I'm not talking about Rajni and whatever movies. I'm talking about like second and third rate, with whatever second grade, third grade heroes who are much
Sarath
smaller.
Kumar type films.
Those kind of movies. Those would do very, very well.
Correct.
They would all be rating in that Bimaru region.
Yeah.
Right? All of that north region, they'll be rating very well. So on a Sunday, we would have not same or beating ratings of a Shah Rukh movie or whatever, but it would be like a significant percentage of that, which you could do just with a very cheap dub movie. You didn't need to have paid 100 crores for the Shah Rukh movie. You could have paid like some 50 lakhs for some nonsense dub of some like Sandeep, whatever in what is that, Nani or whatever, these like not even Nani heroes. Yeah. So this has been there. Now they've finally connected the dots and say, if you do that, then we get your single screen people out. Gadar obviously is straight pulling on that only. Us mainstream audience have gone through the whole cycle and come back. So that was our episode on the latest Shah Rukh. Well, I will say latest, but the second in resurgence of Shah Rukh hits. We hope to see more of him around. All huge fans here on the podcast.
What? You never told me.
You're subsumed in the majority. It's a democracy, man. Once you put the
I am fan only, Macha. No, I'm saying like our fans obviously, like the listeners didn't know until now that we are all fans. That's what I was going for.
No, after hearing this, they obviously know. And thank you to Divya and thank you to Arya. You've added a new dimension to our podcast. So thank you for guesting with us.
Love being here.
This was super fun.
Yeah. Please like, rate, review our podcast on your podcast app of choice. Please write to us if you have any feedback at Intermission on X, or the platform formerly known as Twitter. Or you can email us at yointermission@gmail.com. Stay tuned. This was a pleasant surprise even for us to do an episode within, was it a week since the last episode? Yeah. That also shows the power of Shah Rukh. We could not wait for 3 weeks. Everything else we did like 2 months later, but this we had to do within a week. So thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.